What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content. And a thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Once again, if you want to support the channel, right there, that QR code is why you get started. Super easy. You're picking higher or lower on your favorite player's stats or a player you don't even like that much. I've been making plays with Drake May, and y'all know I'm not a Patriots fan. Super easy to do. Get started right there. If you have any questions, hit me up. I got you. Once again, big shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, like most of y'all, I am learning about Coach Hafley daily, right? I knew him as a DC in Green Bay and as a former coach at Boston College. That's the extent of what I knew going into this. Because really, that's the most discernible part of his game. Once you become a head coach and that's your only head coaching experience, pretty big deal. What was your current job before you got this job? DC in the NFL with Green Bay. Cool. That's where I'm starting from, right? What I did not know, and I found interesting, and it made me even maybe more of a fan of Coach Hafley, is that before all that, he was a DB's coach for like 10 years. This started in college with Ohio State, Rutgers, all the way up to the pros with San Francisco and Tampa. So he has been a defensive backs coach. And Richard Sherman, who, as a dude, I'm not a particularly big fan of, but as a player, big fan. I think Richard Sherman got the most out of his body. He was a mixture of talking the game and backing it up. He's a champion. Talked about how the way Coach Hafley broke down the game for defensive backs was unlike anything he had seen before. Like the film study, the way he broke down how to communicate maybe advanced concepts in a simple way that those guys got it. Because knowing something is one thing. Knowing how to communicate it is a different thing. There's plenty of coaches in the league that were former players, right? I would say probably most of them. But maybe they had superior talent, so I can't teach you what I could do. This is the issue with even an NBA, where a lot of great players were not great coaches because I could see a double team split it, make a jump shot, but I can't teach you how to do that. I can just do it. The fact that someone at Richard Sherman's level can say the way he approached film study, the way he approached coaching, the way that he was able to get what he wanted from the players based on how he went about his process and how invaluable that was, that to me is as big an endorsement as any person in the media, anyone who's currently with Green Bay. It's a player who works in media. Richard Sherman has every reason to come out and say something negative about Jeff Hafley. He'll get all the press. Yo, Miami just hired a coach. He was my coach at one point. He can't coach nothing. That would be top story. How do you feel about Richard Sherman? He didn't say that. He said this guy was great. I stand by what he did in that particular position group, right? And even Micah Parsons, when he found out he was leaving the team, he went to Twitter about it. So seeing Micah Parsons, who's one of the top 3, 4 guys at his position, hurt now, of course. And Richard Sherman, who's not a Hall of Famer, but Hall of Very Good, both come out. I respect both of their games. You can feel however you feel about them as people, but their games tell me what Jeff was doing was good and that they can vouch for it. I, again, wasn't my number one choice as coach. I'm gonna keep saying that as we go along, but I am gonna start being as more positive as I can. When I hear good things, we're gonna report it. Here's something I don't like, gotta talk about it, right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat the coach. We know this channel is not. We're biased towards Miami, but we're not biased toward the truth or my opinions. If I don't think you're doing something right, we're gonna talk about it. Hearing this, coupling that with what the brass of Miami wanted, which was a coach that could help develop young talent, makes sense to me. And given that our secondary was arguably our worst position group, and my background is in defense, which finished 21st this year, and I've coached DBs, which going into next year, I don't know who the DBs are going to be. It could be Rasul and Jack Jones and Cater and Minka, and those are the 4. It could very easily be those 4. It could also be 3 new guys and Minka Fitzpatrick. Like, I don't know what it's going to be. And it may be more fiscally responsible to be 3 new guys and Minka. So we have young DBs who need to be coached up back there. I'd rather have someone who's coached collegiate DBs and pro DBs as their main coach. Like, that makes sense to me. And if we're trying to develop young, cheap talent because our payroll is going to be screwed up for the next 3 years, then this makes more sense as a hire than maybe a Jesse Mentor who just went from college and has been in the league for a year, right? Like, maybe he hasn't had like the runway that Coach Hafley has had. So this is good to hear. Shout out to coach. And let's start coaching his DBs up. This is an interesting point that Darren Waller made today. I guess he was doing an interview, and they asked him about what do you think is going on with Tua, which I think is a fair question, right? Darren Waller is a pass catcher. So him and Tua's relationship is everything. I got to know when Tua does little things with his shoulders, things with his eyes, patting the ball, whatever quarterbacks do, the receiver needs to know what's going down. So I like hearing from receivers about their quarterback. Now, Darren Waller obviously missed a bunch of games. We've chronicled his whole time coming to Miami. But he mentioned that when they were in practice and he was trying to recover and getting better, he said, I saw the Tua y'all saw in 2023. I saw a dude deathly accurate, quick anticipation. He was on the sideline like, yo, I've never seen someone dart the ball like this. I've never seen somebody just be so precise, which made him, I'm sure, more hyped to play for the team. But then when things got on the field, it got a little dicey. And according to Darren Waller, he thinks that the trauma from Tua's past, and I don't mean like childhood trauma, I mean like football trauma, is what is actually causing him to kind of regress because his body is holding on to it. Here's what he said specifically. I think some of the disconnect comes from, I think there could be some trauma still stored up in his body from what he's gone through. There's this book called The Body Keeps the Score, which is like the #1 book about trauma. I can notice him like trying to make things happen in the game. Like he's trying to pull the trigger, but it's almost like his body and his system won't allow him to do it. I think that's pretty accurate. Well, I think we all saw that. There will be times when he would see it opening and you would be like, throw it. And he would be like, and then he wouldn't throw it. And it would be like, oh my God, to it, just throw the ball. Like, what happened? And that window goes from it's open now and then either batted down or picked. That's how quick the windows in the NFL are. And the best version of Tua saw that window, like remember the movie like Wanted or even The Matrix, where everything's slowed down and you can kind of move through it. I'm not saying that Tua was the one, but I'm saying that when they would show some of the quarterback view of his throws from like 23 especially, you would see how tight windows were. Like he would throw the ball and you wouldn't see a receiver. You would see a linebacker like reaching, and then you would see the ball cutting through. And right before the ball got to some random point, you would just see Tyreek's hands pop in the screen and just dart out of there. You're like, wow, he saw that angle. Like, I'm looking from where he's looking from. He just sees a space. All right, 14 yards up, 3 yards inside, 1, 2, 3, let it fly. And we saw magic. And this year we saw 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, snap. Protection broke down. Get out of here. And what would happen was plays that were there to be had, wouldn't be had, sacked, or let me just dump the ball off, gain 1 yard. It's like, yeah, but there was a 14-yard gain out there if you just let the ball go. I very much believe that Tua's body has trauma. I also very much believe that his renewed hip injury that he got at the end of last year carried into this year. I think his hips are not good. Everyone just assumes concussions are like what's taking him down, and that makes sense because your cognition hype is up here, and obviously concussions are your brain being rattled around. I get the correlation. What I see is actual physical limitations coupled with the mental trauma. Because I think if his body worked the way he wanted it to, he could just rip it in there. But now it's like, I don't have that to do. So I'm thinking, how do I get the ball there versus just letting it go? It's an interesting way to break it down. And this isn't, to me, I didn't think this was like a shot at Tua. I almost felt like Darren Waller felt like he was, I don't know, I can't say doing Tua solid. I felt like he was trying to explain it because he said effectively, I think that 2023 dude is still in there. I don't think he can't play anymore, but I do think his body is stopping him from doing it. It's a thing like when you get injured in any kind of sport. I mean, again, I was a football dude. Coming back from injury is difficult because part of your fear is that I'm going to get injured again. So you come back and you're like, I'll get back on the field, but I'm going to play like 80%. But you can't play football 80%. So by playing less than 100%, you get hurt again. You got to come back as if you were never hurt. If you got to put a brace on, put a brace on. And then you got to play like you never had the injury. Because if you're thinking, oh, I had a right ankle injury and this guy's breaking inside. I need to like break on the ball, but can my right ankle take that? Let me push off my left instead. All of a sudden, you're half a step behind. That ball's caught and he's gone because you couldn't do the thing you needed to do because you thought about it too much. You got to break on the ball like you're the receiver. And if your right ankle gives out, it gives out. But ideally, it's healed. And so it'll be fine. And then once you make the play, you check the ankle, like post play. All right, we're all right. And then you just keep playing. But if you're feeling like, all right, if I throw the ball, it's going to be a pick. Oh, I shouldn't throw it. Maybe he should get more open. Oh, he's not more open. Oh, no. That's what keeps happening. So I think this is a pretty accurate depiction of what's going on. I haven't heard Tua say this. I think Tua's like, I'm fine. I just missed a couple throws. He's going to downplay it, of course. But I think Darren Waller's spot on. And wherever Tua goes next, because again, I don't believe he'll be here next year. I don't know if you can ever get over that trauma, but I hope he can get past this and at least get to a level of competency that he can have a long career. I very much believe Tua can be not a Jacoby Brissett type, where Jacoby's in, I think, his mid-30s now, where he can just come in and just run an offense. Like, Jacoby's body is built to be a backup quarterback. He's a big dude. He doesn't get hurt that much. He's accurate enough, not particularly mobile. That keeps you in the league. But Tua's a smaller version of those things. Like, he's accurate and he's not particularly mobile, but he's smaller. I think Tua can be a backup quarterback that's a spot filling guy for years to come. But he can't do that if his body and brain are on the same page. And I hope for his sake and for his family and everything else's sake that he can get there. Football playoffs are here, and Underdog's the best place to get on all the action. Playing Underdog is easy. Just pick if your favorite player will go higher or lower on various stats, including rushing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, etc. Get them right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Now, on tomorrow's show, I'm going to give you my 5 picks of the week. So, foreshadowing. But again, you don't have to take my picks. Do what you do. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code FOOTBALLFAN to score $75 in bonus entries once you make your first $5 play. That's promo code FOOTBALLFAN. Underdog, make picks, win some money.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-877-8 or text from 467-369.
I got to tell you, this story blew me away today. This is not confirmed as of me taping this, but I imagine by the time you see this, it will be. It's been reported that Mike McDaniel, former Dolphins coach, is going to sign as the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. What? I was under the impression that Cleveland Browns wanted him to be their coach. He interviewed to be the OC for Detroit, which I thought was an absolute slam dunk. With those running backs, that offensive line, and that quarterback, beautiful. They end up giving a job to somebody else. Cool. He was still interviewing for other jobs and somehow just said, nah, I'm good. I'm going to the Chargers to be an OC on a team where I have basically no chance to be the head coach. Jim Harbaugh is going to be there until he doesn't want to be there. This is fascinating to me for a number of reasons. If I was writing a script, you do get the alternate universe Freaky Friday thing where had the Dolphins drafted Justin Herbert and then Coach McDaniel was there, what could they have been? You get to see that world. And I don't know, the Chargers offense is not currently built for what Coach McDaniel does well, which tells me in the offseason they're going to make some moves to kind of make the team more fortified. But this to me feels like a lifestyle move, almost more so than a football move. Because Coach McDaniel was still in play to be the Baltimore coach and the Buffalo coach. And until they told me definitively you cannot coach Lamar or Josh Allen, I'm not going anywhere else. Like, if I could be the OC for Buffalo and just let Josh Allen run crazy and do all the things in the world and give me James Cook in the back with multiple tight ends, they're going to get a receiver in the offseason. He said no to all that. Baltimore, I don't want Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers. I'm good on that. I'm going to go to Quentin Johnston. It's interesting to me. Unless you look at it through the prism of he wants to be in LA with his family. It's awesome weather. They play in a dome. It makes sense if it's a lifestyle play. I mean, he went from Miami. Miami is the ultimate lifestyle play. You go from Miami to LA, that's what I did. I can speak from it firsthand. It's great. I like going back and forth between the two. It's like weather doesn't change. It's pretty cool. But to go from Miami to Baltimore, woof. Go from Miami to Buffalo, woof. So to go from Miami to LA feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. So you went from San Fran to Miami to LA. I can't tell you. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good trio to do. And if you look at it from a lifestyle perspective, it makes more sense. Also, Justin Herbert, if you're going to take over as a team's OC, not a bad choice at all. All the physical tools in the world, has not put it together. Has literally not won a playoff game. Has been awful in most of the playoffs. Most significant win was beating the Chiefs early this year, like realistically. But everybody and their mom believes if you get Herbert the right set of circumstances with a good offensive line and a Marion Hampton being healthy all year, and if Quentin Johnston can learn how to catch and Lab McConkey, you can do something. Perhaps. It all feels like a piece of clay needed to be molded. Caleb Williams was the same situation last year. Ben Johnson came in. I think did a great job of molding him this year. I expect Chicago to be really good next year. This is a good job in a lot of respects for lifestyle. I don't know if this puts him in position to be like the head coach he wants to be anytime soon, at least not of the Chargers. But we wish you the best, Coach McDaniel. You're out of our immediate division because you going to Buffalo would have been brutal. But I'm not gonna lie to you, this really surprised me. I thought there were teams like Arizona out there where they're probably gonna draft the quarterback or running back with Kyler, but either way, that's an interesting situation. There's obviously good teams who need offensive coordinators now. And he said, no, I'm gonna roll the dice and hope I can get the most from Justin Herbert. But I do think being in LA was a big part of it. I wish him the best. I mean, I might even pop up at a game at some point, just try to dap up coach. But this coaching cycle has been wild to me. Solid going to Tennessee. That was confusing to me as well. A lot of stuff is happening, but we have our guy, and we're looking for our new OC now. Hopefully, we can lock that in soon. But as always, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.